Well, folks, it's been a while, but we are back. Of course, I'm Scott Terrana. You're tuned into the Terranadome here on a Saturday in New England. And quite a bit has gone down since the day after the Rafael Devers trade, which, of course, was our last episode. Both the Stanley Cup and NBA Finals were decided. Both leagues' respective drafts have already taken place. Well, at least the first round for the NHL. Plus, the Boston Celtics traded away two of their key pieces of the last couple of years as predicted. And of course, the Red Sox now suck because they don't have Rafael Devers. Six topics and maybe more to come today, and it's another quick hits edition of the Terranadome, and it starts right now.
Known as fair and square throughout my years, so I growl at the living foul. Black to the bone, my home is your home.
Well, welcome to Terranadome.
The Terranadome, and it starts right now. Welcome back to the show, folks. Of course, this is Scott Terrana. You are listening to the Terranadome here on a lovely Saturday in New England. It's actually a little overcast. Of course, we had a heat wave earlier in this week, so summer has officially arrived, and that means the slow part of the sport calendar has also arrived as well, folks. Find other things to do if you do. You have to go. Hopefully, at least for me. Over the years, I've gotten back into racing, and that includes horse racing as well. So I've got plenty to look forward to. But for a lot of people, they're just staring down 2 months at the calendar, waiting for the NFL season. And I know there's plenty of you sitting there right now watching this that are thinking the same exact thing. I cannot wait until football starts. You don't have to actually wait too long for that, folks. We'll have training camps at the end of July. And then preseason games start really like the second week of August. So we're not that far off, but let's not wish away the rest of the summer yet. Because to me, July, of course, and I might be biased, but July is the best month of the year, folks. So anyway, quick hits episode of the Terranadome. The quick hits format is back, ladies and gentlemen. I took one off to bitch about the Rafael Devers trade. And I may have more to say about that at the end of the episode if I've got the time to do it. I'm going to be talking about the Red Sox. I'm going to crap on the Red Sox, just like I did when the deal was made. And yes, Devers has been a complete dick since it's happened. And it's true that there's two sides to every story. And it's true that he made the situation untenable after they started it. This still is on the fault of the Boston Red Sox. Probably get into that a little bit more later. But that's going to be our last topic for today, folks. We have got six to get to. The first few are going to be pretty quick. We will start with the Stanley Cup. So topic number one, Florida Panthers win their second consecutive Stanley Cup. And Brad Marchand, your former captain of the Boston Bruins, finished second in the Conn Smythe, which is the NHL Finals MVP award. So basically what happened in this series, folks, as I kind of predicted it would, initially, whenever that was on the show. Edmonton, once again, could not overcome their crappy goaltending, okay? They just couldn't do it. Interesting note, best player in the world, Connor McDavid, he's a free agent after next season. He will only be 29 years old. That was going to be the biggest contract in NHL history when it occurs. And he may not be staying with Edmonton, folks. Now, the Edmonton goalies, they surrender 25 goals on 186 shots. That is a atrocious 86.6% save percentage. That is crap. You are not going to be able to win a series that way, and they did not. They bowed out in 6 games. Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid combined for 15 points in the 6 games, though McDavid only had 1 goal in the series, and both of them were a -7. When they were on the ice because the defense and the goalie behind them sucked. For the Florida Panthers in the game in the decisive game 6, Sam Reinhart scored 4 goals in that game, and he had 7 in the series. I believe he won the Conn Smythe. It was either him or Sam Bennett. Florida goalie Sergei Bobrovsky, if you also known as Sergei Butitsky, he allowed 17 goals on 210 shots for a .919 save percentage. Plenty good enough when the other team's netminders couldn't stop a beach ball. So Florida wins, like I said, back-to-back Stanley Cups. It's the 3rd time in the 20th century that it's happened. The Detroit Red Wings did it in the late 2000s, and the Penguins did it in 2015 and 2016. I believe I've got that right. Now, again, let's talk more about Marchand because that really is the reason that we're talking about this, right? New England-based show. Marchand, bless you. Cat's sneezing up a storm back there. Get out of the dust, dummy. Anyway, Marchand, former captain of the Boston Bruins, and a guy that I was extremely upset that they traded, even if logically it may have made sense. It didn't have to happen, but he chose to go to the Florida Panthers. And here, so basically, anyway, here you go. I'll sum it up in a second. But Marchand, Bruins captain up until the trade deadline day this year, scored 6 goals in the 6-game series. He had 10 goals and 10 assists for 20 points in 23 playoff games. That is playoff Marchand at his best. Hasn't lost it in the playoffs. He's got that extra gear. Here's the scenario. Marchand bet on himself. He asked for more money. Don Sweeney said no. Marchand asked to be traded to Florida only. Sweeney honors that. Marchand immediately goes and wins the cup. He was the perfect fit for that team, and we all knew it when that trade happened. Something that he should have done 2 more times here was win a cup, but they fell short. They got the one in 2011. And even going into his 37-year-old age season, Marchand's now going to get that pay bump as an unrestricted free agent. And he was looking for that pay bump. He's going to get it now. He's earned it. Marchand spent his entire career having to outsmart and outwork his competition. So it's no surprise that he won when he bet on himself. Anybody paying attention? F the Florida Panthers. Happy for Brad Marchand. I told you this would happen. This is exactly how I predicted it would happen, and this is exactly what happened. So, congratulations to Brad Marchand. I realized that happened a little. It's been a little while now since that happened, but I needed to address that. Thanks for letting me address that. That's bullet point number 1. Quick hits episode of the Terranadome. Bullet point number 2, and this one's going to be a real quick one, folks, because I don't care, and neither do you. But we're going to talk about it for a second. The Oklahoma City Thunder win their first NBA championship, 4-3 over the Indiana Pacers. First of all, I just want to take the time out to apologize to Seattle Supersonics fans on this one. You never should have lost your damn team. This one sucks. I'm sorry for you guys. Yeah, I know it's been almost 20 years, but still, people don't forget. But anyway, I commend the Indiana Pacers for getting to 7 games in this one, folks. I do, because Oklahoma City just looked like the more loaded team. But the Pacers did a hell of a job getting to this series and then forcing it to 7 games. Of course, they have an unfortunate incident in the opening minute of Game 7 with their all-around best player, Tyrese Halliburton, certainly their most clutch player, Tyrese Halliburton. He shreds his Achilles a la Jason Tatum in the first minute of Game 7. That was kind of it, but it still took a big third quarter run for Oklahoma City to put them away in Game 7. But they get it done. 105-93, I believe, was the score. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander wins the series MVP, completing a dream season for him, where he also won the league MVP, even though he didn't deserve it, and it should have been Nikola Jokic, but they don't like Nikola Jokic because he's not fun, I guess, or something, or maybe it's because he's not American. I don't know. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's French, so I really don't know. Now, this is the point I want to make, really, about the whole NBA thing, right? Oklahoma City looks like a team that should be back in the next soon, right? Like they could go back to back, right? Like that's what they look like, a juggernaut. They were this year, 68 wins in the regular season. They cap it off. Surely they'll be back, right? Remember that this is the 7th different team to win in the NBA in seven different champions in the last 7 seasons. We said this exact same thing about the Boston Celtics about 1 year ago right now. Certainly they're going to cruise, and they're going to be even better next year, and they're going to go back to back. Not so fast, guys. So just to recap, 2019, the Toronto Raptors beat the Golden State Warriors. 2020, the bubble. I have to mention that they were the bubble Los Angeles Lakers. It was a fake championship. Beat the Miami Heat. 2021, the Milwaukee Bucks beat the Phoenix Suns. 2022, I remember this very well. The Golden State Warriors beat the Boston Celtics. 2023, Denver Nuggets beat the Miami Heat. 2024, the Celtics beat the Dallas Mavericks. And in 2025, the Oklahoma City Thunder defeat the Indiana Pacers. Don't know if you caught this, but let me say this another way. Only 3 teams have managed to make it to the finals more than once in the past 7 years. And none of those teams won it twice, obviously, because there haven't been any repeat winners. Celtics and Warriors went 1-1. The Miami Heat also got there twice, and they went 0-2. But in the last 7 years, no team has gotten there more than twice. Just get into that dance. No guarantee that Oklahoma City repeats, folks. But congratulations to the Thunder and their fans in Oklahoma City. Hopefully they're yeah, never mind. I'm not going to make a tornado comment here. Sorry, Sonics fans. Okay, 2 points down. We go to the next one on the Terranadome. It's quick hits, folks. This time we're talking about your Boston Celtics and the salary dump that we knew that they had to make, right? We just didn't know which guys it was going to be. I suspected it was going to be Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis, and maybe possibly also Sam Hauser. Hauser could still drop, but Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, both traded away this week by the Boston Celtics. Holiday traded to Portland for slash forward Anthony Simons and 2 second-round picks, and Porzingis traded to the Atlanta Hawks as part of a 3-team deal with Brooklyn. Boston gets Georges Niang. Think I got that right. In return, along with a second-round pick, and they sent a second-round pick to Atlanta with Porzingis. Now, I'm going to say that second-round picks, they really matter in the NBA, but then when we get to who the Celtics drafted, I'm going to applaud them for their second-round picks. So just a heads up, it's going to sound like I'm literally contradicting myself in the next 5 minutes. But anyway, they trade away a 35 going into 36-year-old Drew Holiday, who was clearly in decline and making like $37 million a year, and Porzingis was making 30. They needed to do this. I told you they needed to do this. They needed to get under that second luxury. Well, I mean, need to. It's not my money. They didn't necessarily need to do this, but I told you they were going to do this because it brings them under that second luxury tax apron, which is an extremely, extremely large penalty. And the team would literally have not have been profitable, especially with no Jason Tatum now in 2025, 2026. So it had to happen, right? So they don't get a ton back for these two guys that helped you win a championship. Anthony Simons he's 26 years old. He's a volume scorer, really doesn't do much of anything else. And you can look up his stat page. I mean that. He just is a shooter. He's an elite free throw shooter, but he doesn't go to the bucket because he only averages 2.1 attempts per game for his career. 38.1% three-point shooter for his career. That percentage has dropped consistently in each of the last 4 seasons for him. It was only 36.5%, I believe, last year. Simons did on a Blazers team with not many guys, right? 19.3 points per game this past season, 22.6 points per game the year before, and 21.1 points per game 2 seasons ago. I could see them keeping him. They're obviously going to need somebody that can score along with Brown and Derek White, assuming that they won't trade them. And yes, the Celtics have gotten a ton of calls on those two guys, but let's assume that they stay there. He would be a nice third option, but they were all kind of playing the same position here. So this really was a salary dump. Just in case you're wondering, if you don't know anything about Georges Niang, you shouldn't, because he started 32 games in his 544-game NBA career. He's a backup. He's best suited for a bench role. He'd play in 15 minutes a night. Can be a distributor, but you don't want, he's not your starting point guard or anything by any means. This was really a salary dump. It has people like my boy Josh Morris. Shout out to Josh. Josh, for the first time, fully questioning Brad Stevens. Like, in Brad Stevens, we trust, but a lot of people are upset right now. Like I said, it gets them under that luxury tax apron. They saved close to $180 million here, so that they needed to do this. But yeah, this is going to be interesting to see what they do next. I've seen in a few places that they might actually flip Anthony Simons in another trade, and I definitely think that there's got to be more coming, right? Like this is not how they're going to go into the season, even after the 3 draft picks that they made, which we'll get to in a second. But this isn't it. They don't have a real starting lineup right now. They don't have a big. They don't have a starting big. Like Xavier Tillman's going to be in your starting lineup. Like you can't. They're not going to do this to the fan base. Okay, this isn't going to be a Red Sox Bruins situation right here. The Celtics won't do this. Okay, this guy's a brand new owner, which is gets you a little bit nervous, but like Wick's still around, the original group still around this team. I gotta believe that Stevens has got more up his sleeve than just this. This does not look right, and I don't think it's gonna stay this way. But at the same time, I can say with almost complete certainty, not gonna be a good season for the Boston Celtics. Just not gonna be a good season. Not what we've been used to really since Brad Stevens got here as a coach. They've always been a winning team. No Jason Tatum, and we don't really know what the roster looks like yet. But I don't think it's going to be a great season. Again, now maybe they put something together where they can win like 46 games, 44, 46, maybe. But don't think it's going to be a great season. 3 points down, 3 more to go, plus a hot take at the end, a bonus hot take at the end, folks. It's the Terranadome. My name's Scott Terrana. Quick hits on the Terranadome. Bullet point number 4. The NBA draft took place this week. Just happened, just concluded the other night. First overall, Cooper Flagg. We all knew Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg. If you watched any of the NCAA tournament, you know who Cooper Flagg is. Cooper Flagg goes first overall, as he should have. But it was a rigged pick that Dallas got in the draft lottery because they did LeBron a solid and decided to send Luka Doncic out to LA, and they immediately win the draft lottery. The draft lottery is rigged. Josh and I have a pretty infamous segment on the show where we were laughing about that for a little while. It's absolutely rigged. Cooper Flagg to Dallas, okay? I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about these college prospects. I've done some research on the Celtics picks, though. They took Hugo Gonzalez of Real Madrid in Spain. Not that Real Madrid. Not the English Premier League soccer team. Leonardo, Lenny, I know you're watching. It was not the Premier League. No, this was the Real Madrid Spanish and Euro basketball league. Hugo Gonzalez with the 28th overall pick. This kid averaged 14 minutes a night and 5 points per game in the Spanish league this year. It was even less than the Euro league. He's 19 years old and 6'7". Don't even know what the weight is on this kid. I didn't actually watch the draft. I haven't watched the draft since the Celtics drafted Marcus Smart. And it's worked out better that way for the fan base. So I'm not going to watch the drafts. I'll tell you what happened after. I think this kid is a developmental project, obviously. We don't know what the ceiling is. We don't know what the floor is. I did look over that roster that he was on in Spain, and I can tell you that unlike a typical NBA roster, which is like 12 guys, they have about 20. So their rotations are huge over there. Like the guys that led his team in minutes averaged like 21 minutes a game. So don't freak out too much. But also know that Serge Ibaka was on that team. The guy, he's like 40 years old now. He's in the NBA forever. I don't know what to make of the pick. I'm going to trust Stevens' research in the scouting department of the Celtics over what I know. I'm not going to do a Felger and Mass thing here. Not going to do that. So after that, the Celtics had pick 46. They actually took pick 32 and flipped it for picks, I think, down the road in like next year's draft or something like that. But the Celtics at 46 overall, they take a power forward / center at Amari Williams from Kentucky. He looks like he could be a steal. I'm kind of interested in this one. Looks like he can score a little bit. He rebounds well. He blocks shots. 6'10". Maybe a promising little power forward that they desperately need. It doesn't look like they're going to bring Al Horford back. I hear there's a big market on Al Horford, by the way. But Amari Williams, maybe something. I know a lot of people were excited about it. I mean, it is Twitter, but the scouts are high on him. I'm using air quotes. The scouts are high on Amari Williams, so maybe. And with pick 57, they take Max Shulga. Max Shulga, a Ukrainian guard. No politics here. A Ukrainian guard out of VCU. 6'4", 200 pounds. He averaged 15 points a game, and he was a third this past season, 4-year starter in college, and a 39.2% three-point shooter in college. I could see him in the rotation next year as well because this team needs players. So usually if I'm more excited about 2 second-round picks than I am about the first-round pick, the team's in trouble. That's probably true. Hopefully I'm wrong, though. But I'm at least interested, especially Amari Williams. I'm interested in that player. That might be something. You never know. Just remember, Draymond Green was a second-round pick. That's all I'm saying. I know he's an a-hole, but he's been a good player, really good player in his career. Draymond Green was a second-round pick. That's just what I'm saying. That's 4 down, 2 to go. Quick hits episode of the Terranadome. We are on to Quick hit number five. It is that the first round of the NHL draft was completed last night as well. And yeah, we're going to talk about the Bruins selection quite a bit here. Okay, but we'll talk about the top two picks first because I found it pretty interesting. The Islanders took, I believe they're both centers also, by the way. Matthew Schaefer went first overall. He had 22 points in what appears to be a clearly injury-plagued season in the OHL. 22 points in 17 games for Matthew Schaefer to the Islanders. And the San Jose Sharks took the kid, but not knowing anything about them, I would have taken this kid first overall. Michael Misa. Listen to this. He had an insane 62 goals and 134 points in 65 games in the same OHL. The same league for the Saginaw Spirit. The Sharks, between that kid and Macklin Celebrini, they should be right back on the map this season. I mean, that is you plug that right in. That kid's not going to college. He's going straight to the pros. That is I couldn't even do that in video games. Couldn't. Not that I'm not that good at them either, but I couldn't put 134 points in 65 games. That's nuts. So interesting at the top two picks. The Boston Bruins, your Boston Bruins, New England. They had the 7th overall pick in the draft, and they took a centerman, a left shot center, a supposedly elite playmaker named James Higgins out of Boston College. I know. They took a kid from BC. I know. Kid was born in New York, though. 5'11". Scouting page says he's 177 pounds. The player says he's already up to 190 pounds, and he wants to debut in the NHL this year. Obviously, this pick is an attempt for them to solve that top line center problem that they haven't really been able to address in the 2 years since Patrice Bergeron's been gone. This kid was a point per game scorer at BC last season, 11 goals and 26 assists in 37 games. And that's no small feat in the Hockey East. That is the toughest conference in the world, or at least in the country for college hockey, right? Now, if it were any other general manager making this pick, I would be over the friggin' moon about it. I would. But it's friggin' Don Sweeney. And Don Sweeney's history is so bad with high draft picks that I'm merely cautiously optimistic. I'm not super optimistic. I'm like, I think this kid's good, but Don Sweeney picked him. Also, side note, everybody knows I cannot stand Don Sweeney on this show. Or anybody that's listened to it when I've talked about him knows that. If it helps, though, many other people around the league cannot believe that this kid fell to 7th overall. That's usually a good thing. There's praise that's been made for this pick around the league. We will see. A lot of people not happy that Boston got this kid. So we'll see. We also know that John Sweeney's job has to be on the line at this point, and I think he knows it too, so he needs to knock this one out of the park. I'm cautiously optimistic about James Higgins. I know that I've seen that he's supposedly going to play one more year in BC and then come up to Boston for 26-27. But the player, it sounds like, is going to try to forego that. So we'll see. Optimism for the future with this pick. Hopefully, they haven't picked in the top 10, I believe, since they got Pasternak. So, yeah. So we'll see. Yeah. The trade rumors, by the way, there are trade rumors around David Pasternak this week. Just as a side note, they come out of the Czech Republic. I highly doubt that they're true. They're not going to trade David Pasternak. They're not going to do that. Same general manager and president and owner that signed him to an 8-year deal. They're not going to trade Pasternak. Bruins, they have 6 more picks left, it looks like. They have the 51st and 61st overall picks coming in the second round. They have the 69th, overall pick in the third round. 100th overall in the fourth, 133rd overall in the fifth. And their last pick is number 165 in the sixth. To me, the Boston Bruins still need everything for this roster. They need everything that they can take. What I would like them to do, though, is take a shot at a couple of right-handed defensemen with their next 3 picks. Again, that's 51, 61, and 69. Nice. Try and take a shot at a couple right-shot defensemen. I don't know who's out there. I've seen tweets about it. I'm not going to pretend to know who those guys are. But I will tell you this much. That's something that Don Sweeney's actually good at doing. He is actually good at finding defensemen. Probably because he was one in the league for all those years, right? It's probably that. He probably knows what it looks like. I would sure hope so. I think that they'll come out with a couple of good defensemen over the next couple of days. So we'll see. And don't forget the Bruins. They still have a ton of cap space available. So that's 5 points down, 5 quick hits down, 1 to go. And I saved the best for last, baby, because I always do. It's the friggin' Boston Red Sox. The friggin' Boston Red Sox. Quick hits. Drop number 6. The Boston Red Sox. Here's what I have in my notes. The Boston Red Sox are free falling after the stupid, idiotic trade of Rafael Devers. Sad but true, folks. They are in 10 games. This is a nice, cute, tiny little sample size, but it's enough. It's representative. Believe me, you can just tell it's changed. 3-7 record post trade. 2 runs or less in 6 out of those 10 games. They've been shut out twice. They're averaging 2.8 runs per game. They were swept by the crappy Anaheim Angels who don't have their manager. They're batting 184 as a team since the trade. 184. Holy crap. But what's even more holy crap, incredibly, they're only 2.5 games out of the final wild card spot. And they're only 8 back in the division. And there's still 79 games left in the season. You can't just give up on the season now. But our BS artist GM, who nobody believes anything that's come out of his mouth, he's dropped 2 very staggering quotes since this trade was made. And pay attention to this, folks, because I guarantee you that if he lies about this crap, he's gone. He's absolutely gone. He's done. So here are the quotes. I'll give them to you. The day after the trade was made, he says about the Devers trade, I do think there's a quote. Again, this is Craig Breslow, the day after the Rafael Devers trade that he executed. Quote, I do think there's a real chance that at the end of the season, we're looking back and we've won more games than we otherwise would have. That has aged like orange juice in the sun, folks. Oh, stop whining. He's got to keep whining. I don't know. We'll get him out of there in a minute. Okay. Here's the other one. Here's the other one because the trade deadline's coming, folks. It's less than, I don't know if it's still July 31st. I know they moved it to August 2nd at one point. I forget exactly which day it is, but it's about a month away. Okay? It's not much more than 30 games. Breslow, this was the other day. This was a little while after. Said, quote, we would be looking to improve our team. We would be looking to improve our team for 2025. Because despite the fact that we haven't been able to string together the consistent performance that we think we're capable of, we're still very much staring down a wild card chance. And nobody has really run away with the AL East. So as we start to get healthy and we start to look externally about ways that we can improve the team, we think we've got a good chance to make a deep postseason run. End quote. Do you believe him? Do you guys believe him? Do you honestly believe that? Do you honestly believe what they just did, dumping all that salary? Why do you honestly think? Because they're not going to be hanging around for much longer at this rate, right? So are they going to do something? Because if they try to wait a month to do something, they're going to be out of it. And then that quote that's going to age like spoiled milk that's already spoiled. There's just no way. Something's got to happen, and it's got to happen soon. That's a fact. If he is going to live up to that crap that I just read you, that came out of his mouth, then he's got to do something soon. It can't wait, okay? The pitching's been a lot better over the past month, but like I just told you, to bat 184 without Devers. And yeah, what I fear, and what we all fear, because this is how it's been. This is how it's been for the last 5 years with this team. Ever since the COVID year, this is how it's been with this team. We're going to get Alex Bregman back. And oh, by the way, Masataka Yoshida, he's starting a rehab assignment really soon. So with those two guys, our offense is fixed. Jared Duran will start to hit all of a sudden. And with those 3 additions, we're all set. Because that's been the attitude for this team for the last 5 years. And don't believe a word that he says until he goes out there and gets a real piece. You need a right-handed bat, and you need it right now. This is unacceptable. This is so unacceptable, okay? By the way, he's digging his own grave too. He's digging his own grave because if he doesn't live up to this, it's on him, and they're going to can him, and they're going to have an even harder time bringing in the next general manager because let's face it, they keep bringing in guys that don't know how to put together a major league roster. Stop relying on analytics and nerd crap BS and drive line shit. Stop relying on that. Look at what's in front of you. This must have been what it was like, right? Because I was only 14 when they won the 04 World Series. I was only 14 years old. This had to have been what it was like. Like, not analytics driven, but I mean just the madness. The maddening. I want to just pull your friggin', you want to gouge your eyes out. You want to pull your hair out watching what this team does. Oh, great. Now the car alarm. I must have set off the car alarm with that rant next door. It's awesome. Okay. So we knew this lineup wasn't going to produce without Bregman. Devers is gone. Bregman's still 3 weeks away. Yoshida, who knows? They need to address this. If they don't, Breslow's gone. Okay? It's not, and even with Devers gone, it's just not a good lineup, and I'm not blaming the players that are on the field because this is the roster that they've put out, okay? And even if Jarren Duran were hitting like he's capable of right now, even if he was, they're still no better than a 500 team. They just don't have enough. They don't. I'm sorry. The fever dream run for Abraham Toro ended, okay? Love Rob Refsnyder, really do. Going to be a good manager one day. Only hits lefties. You can't put him out there every day. David Hamilton can't hit his weight. Okay, he only weighs like a buck 60, and he can't hit that. All right, the rookies, they're having problems right now. I'll tell you what, Roman Anthony's going to get there very soon. He puts in great at bats. He's going to get there really soon. Marcelo Meyer just went on bereavement leave. Hope everything's okay with him. There's just not enough there, and I don't think that they know what they're doing, and you shouldn't either. Don't buy a word of what that guy says until he goes and does it. He traded your best bat away, and you're worse off for it. Okay? Fan base deserves better. 6 out of the last 7 years with no playoff baseball is staring us right in the face. 6 out of 7 years. After all the success that they had for the previous 15, it's unacceptable. It's the same ownership group. It's a joke, and you should be pissed. You can tell I'm really a fan of the team, huh? Okay. Anyway, I'm not a madman, I promise. But this is not acceptable, okay? Oh, by the way, just to cap this one off, I'll wrap it up with this tiny bow. Executives around the league have been pulled, and they have already called the Rafael Devers trade the failure of 2025. We're halfway through the season. Congratulations, jail boy. Folks, that's it for the quick hits episode of the Terranadome. I feel like that was a pretty strong end to the show. I look forward to hopefully hearing some reaction out of that one. You guys feel free to say whatever you want in the comments. I do not moderate my comments. Okay, I do not censor any comments. Say whatever the heck you want. But if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that tunes in every week for the show. I really enjoy this stuff. This is really what I would love to do with my life. Sports radio and Boston host is kind of like a dream gig for me. And if I never get there, doing this. Doing it with getting friends on here all the time or anybody on here, right? Because I've done that in the past too. Would love to do it, right? I do okay now. I enjoy what I do off camera now, but this would be so awesome. So anyway, thanks for the support, guys. The final hot take of this episode, and this is not a quick hit, this is a bonus hot take. Out of the 4 majors here in New England, the Red Sox, the Bruins, the Celtics, and the New England Patriots, the New England Patriots will have the best season of the 4 majors in this calendar year. Say that again. The New England Patriots, the team that has gone 4-13 each of the past 2 seasons, is going to have the best season of the 4 major teams in the Boston sports market. Folks, my name is Scott Terrana. It's the Terranadome. Thank you so much again. Tell somebody you love them today because tomorrow is not promised. Tell people about the show. And hit me up anytime. You can hit me up on Facebook, and you can also just, like I said, leave it in the comments. I'm not afraid of I'm not afraid of what you think you're gonna say. But I appreciate the support. Love you guys. Thanks so much, and we will be back next week with a new edition of the Terranadome. Tell somebody you love them today because tomorrow is not promised. Terranadome. Minnesota was doomed from the start. I mean, this was a ass whooping. There's nothing short of that. It was a complete ass whooping. But I will tell you what, my friend, nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. And it is time to get them back in the AFC Championship game. I believe that, listen, you're right about Derrick Henry, especially in cold weather. No one's going to want to tackle that guy. So it's going to be imperative for the Buffalo Bills to jump out early in this game and get a lead and force Lamar Jackson to have to play from behind. If they can do that, they're going to win this game. Mention things that we love to hear, like we're getting the entitlement out of our team, and we're going to earn the opportunity to come into this building every day. I absolutely love that. One thing I will say for sure, yes, they definitely need to go and spend some friggin' money. They're going to have the most cap space in the league, and I'm going to kill them every week on this show until they spend money.
Known as fair and square throughout my years, so I growl at the living foul. Black to the bone, my home is your home.
Well, welcome to Terranadome.